Hello everyone. I haven't done a video for a while, so here's my chance. I was going to do some glazing today, and before I do that I wanted to sieve my glazes, which you should do occasionally to get the particles all mixed up and make sure you don't have a lot of stuff laying on the bottom. And because I was going to sieve, I thought I'd show you how a cheapskate sieves his glazes. Meaning what kind of equipment he uses. I could not see spending $35 for a sieve of each of the sizes that you need, and I came up with a cheaper alternative, and I thought I'd share that with you. The first thing you need is some screening in order to sieve your glazes. And what I did, I went to McMaster Car. They sell all sorts of hardware items, machining items, things like that. And if you look under wire mesh or wire cloth, you'll find some stainless steel cloth. This happens to be a stainless steel 304, and it's this particular one was a 60 mesh. You get a 1 foot square of it. Actually, I have a 60 and a 100 in here. You'll get a 1 foot square piece of what's called hardware cloth. This is a 60 mesh, and it's relatively cheap. They're very fast. You'll have it within 2 days. A lot of times I can order something from them in the morning and have it the next morning. McMastercar.com. So you get your mesh. Then you have a couple choices. What I did, I got these little buckets at Lowe's or Home Depot, one or the other, and I cut out the bottom. I drilled a hole, and then I just used a pair of shears and cut a hole, and I left some material on the bottom. And then I cut out a piece of the hardware cloth, and I put that down in the bottom. And then you'll see I also cut some little half moons of plywood, thin plywood. Then the next thing you want to buy is something called Gorilla Glue. Now this stuff is magic. It will glue anything to anything. And it's cheap. It's totally waterproof. You can use it outdoors for outdoor furniture, things like that. Totally waterproof, very strong bond. The only downside is that it reacts with water to form its bond. It will foam up. So whenever you glue something together, you have to clamp it in order to keep the foam from just pushing the pieces apart. So that's the only downside. And since it reacts with water, it'll sit. If you let it sit for a couple of months and you don't use it all, what's left will harden, and then you have to go get another one. So I get a relatively small 4-ounce bottle once every few months when I'm in Home Depot or Lowe's or Wally World. Gorilla Glue. So what you do, you glue these little half moon pieces of wood in there on top of the wire mesh, and it glues the whole thing together so you have a good solid sieve, a little bucket. So I did that for a 60 mesh and then a 100 mesh, same thing. The other alternative is a more conventional way would be to build a little box. I built this little box out of some pine, laid a piece of this is actually 120 mesh, which it's too fine, I don't use it. But I laid a piece of the 120 mesh on the 4 pieces and then put another strip all the way around. Now it was too wide for a 5-gallon bucket, so in the corners I used some rubber cement to block that off, seal up the pores of the mesh, almost like silk screening, so that you can sit this on a 5-gallon bucket and sieve your glaze through it. You can make this any size you want and put any mesh screen obviously that you want in there. Just a little tip, that's what I use. I probably spent, I don't know, for each one maybe $2, something like that for each one. I hope that helps you. Thanks for watching, and you'll see a kiln opening here within the next few days once I get off my lazy butt and get these things fired.